Okay, and welcome to my 2026 February wrap up. Just looking at it, I feel like I did more stuff this month than last month. I don't exactly remember January. I didn't get more reading done, that's for sure. But I definitely did play a lot more games, and we will get into that. We're gonna do games last because a lot of those have stories behind them. So let's start off with the one book I did read. Oh, and that is Princess and the PI. I believe the author's name is Nikki Payne. Princess and the PI follows this girl named Fiona who grew up in a very strict, religious, almost cult-like household. And she is an amateur detective on Reddit. And her brother, actually, he died, but he was like a genius and he invented a bunch of stuff. He was like ousted by the church. And he eventually died, and this corporation that he like kind of worked for took his inventions and were like labeling it as their own. So Fiona decides to steal it to get revenge. However, she gets caught, but the CEO of the company actually ends up dead at this event. Enter our hero Maurice, who is a PI. He used to be a cop, but he left the precinct and is a PI now and has a very bad relationship with the precinct, we'll just say. And he sees this all go down, and he knows there's more to this than just Robert being dead and Fiona trying to take the best. So he agrees to post Fiona's bail and help her stay out of prison, but she has to help him solve not only this mystery with her brother, but also a past mystery that involved the church she is in that he was a part of that he never got to solve. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna put this in C tier. This was not painful for me to read. Like, I could get through it. One, there was nothing making me want to get through it, and two, it wasn't very good. I did eventually push through and finish it. I will say, like, the author mainly has this book be about the mystery thriller aspect instead of the romance. However, I don't feel like she's that good of a mystery thriller writer, if I'm being honest. And then also with, like, the characters and the romance, it felt like both just developed out of nowhere. There's huge time jumps within the book. Like, they'll be like, oh, it's been a couple of weeks, it's been a couple of months, and you're like, well, what happened in that time? Because like the time jump will happen and these characters are acting different, thinking different, believing different things, but like you're not seeing why. So it just felt very disorienting. This author has other books. I don't know if I'm gonna read them. Probably not though. Games are last, so we'll head over to podcasts. We have Back to the Bar with Christy and Kelly. Y'all know that is S tier. That is a Dance Moms recap podcast with Christy Lukasiak and Kelly Highland. They take different episodes of Dance Moms and they recap them. They were also on Dance Moms. They were the stars of Dance Moms. They have the inside knowledge. They will give behind the scenes, what happened during and after the show. Very good, very entertaining, very funny. I highly recommend it. I am slowly but surely also rewatching Dance Moms. So in the podcast, I'm on season 3 of them recapping it, and then in my rewatch of Dance Moms, I'm in the middle of season 4. So I'm a little ahead in my rewatch. I kind of want to wait and to catch up on the podcast before I continue my rewatch though, because I feel like that would be more fun. We have the Nintendo podcast. This is a podcast hosted by the guy who runs the Beat 'em Ups YouTube channel. His name is Wood, I believe. But this is basically just like an everything Nintendo news, games related podcast. He has 2 other co-hosts. I don't know what their names are off the top of my head. I will put it here and their channels if they have it. Him and his 2 co-hosts just recap anything that happened in Nintendo last week. This last episode that I listened to, because I'm filming this on March 3rd, was the Pokemon Day, because Pokemon Day was the 27th of February. I did watch the Nintendo Direct. I did listen to them recap the Direct for Pokemon Day. I'm excited. I really liked that episode. I will say, like, this podcast did go through like a rejuvenation process. It was one thing and then they rejuvenated it into this new thing. I kind of like this new thing a little bit more. It just feels more consistent, more digestible in my opinion. Nintendo, I'm gonna put in A tier. I have really been enjoying that lately. And then last for podcasts, we have Clues with Kaylin Moore and Morgan Abshire. You know this one, you love this one. It is a true crime podcast with Kaylin Moore, who runs down the timeline of events that happen in each and every case that they do, and Morgan Abshire, who goes behind on the internet and what was happening in the media at the time of the case. This is a really good podcast for true crime fans. I just don't really know what else to say about it. The last episode I listened to, they did the frozen yogurt murders that just recently got solved, actually. So that was very entertaining. And again, I always say this, but another thing I like about this is that every week they try to highlight a new missing persons case that is currently active and open, just to get more eyes and like people on it. Clues, I'm gonna also put in A tier. Again, I just really like this podcast. It hasn't been like a go-to for me for a while. It used to be like the main podcast I listened to that has now been back to the bar, but every once in a while I'll throw on an episode of Clues and thoroughly enjoy myself. Let's do albums. I listened to 2 albums this month. They were both by Taylor Swift. One is the Tortured Poets Department, the anthology. Just assume whenever I'm listening to an album that it is the longer version, the deluxe edition, the special edition, whichever one it is. But the Tortured Poets Department is S tier. That album, I cannot argue. Like, I like Life of the Showgirl and Reputation better. Like, that's just my personal opinion. I can't argue that Tortured Poets Department is her best album, though. It is. I'm sorry. It is. That one is just so artistic, from the cover to the soundtrack to the layout of the soundtrack. No comments. It's a beautiful album. And then the other one is the Folklore album. This one is gonna go in A tier. I used to really not like Folklore. Folklore for a long time used to be my least favorite album, just because I was never really into ballads, and a lot of Folklore is those slower ballad songs. In my old age of 24, I recently very much enjoying those slower, meaningful, deeper songs. So I've been enjoying Folklore a lot more. I really, really like The Last Great American Dynasty, Cardigan, Visible Stream, The Lakes. Been really, really enjoying Folklore. And then last thing before games is I have TV shows. I have Dance Moms Season 3. That is S tier too. That is like my #1 guilty pleasure show. Dance Moms is highly problematic, highly funny though. If you don't know what Dance Moms is, I think you might have been living under a rock. It's a dance studio run by Abby Lee Miller, who just like verbally abuses children all day, every day. And their mothers, who constantly get into fights with Abby, each other, other parents from different studios. It's a crazy, chaotic, fun time. I highly recommend it. And then I have Dirty Talk. This was a Hulu documentary series, or at least I watched it on Hulu. I don't know if it was originally on Hulu. It follows the rise and fall of daytime television shows. Think Maury, Ricky Lake, trying to think of other ones. Oprah. So stuff along that lines. It's about the rise and fall of that and the different controversies that came with it and all of the different, and it interviews not only past daytime television hosts, producers, stuff like that, but also people who are on different segments on daytime television as well, which I found very interesting because you get to see their perspective on how it changed their lives being on these shows. I will be honest though, I didn't grow up in the generation of daytime television. I grew up in the reality TV generation. So the next generation. So Dirty Talk didn't really do as much for me as it probably did for people who grew up with all those daytime shows. I watched it because one of my friends who grew up with those daytime shows watch it. I'll put it in B tier. Again, I didn't hate it. It's just that wasn't my childhood. I didn't grow up with that. So all these revelations and behind the scenes didn't mean as much to me personally, but it was still very interesting to watch. Something that I did really, really love, and it's going to go in A tier, is Reality Check. This is a behind-the-scenes look at a reality TV show. You know, me, my generation. It's America's Next Top Model. Tyra Banks, some producers, some other hosts, and past models were on this show. It is on Netflix. It's 3 episodes long. Highly, highly recommend. It was so interesting to watch, the creation, the rise, the fall, and all of the craziness that happened behind the scenes on America's Next Top Model. That wasn't even one of my favorite reality shows. However, it was interesting as hell. Highly recommend Reality Check. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I am kind of considering putting it back on to watch some more of it. Then we have video games. Let's get the easy ones out of the way. I have Dead by Daylight. I finally got back into Dead by Daylight, people, although I didn't have a great time. It's gonna go in B tier. I only played a couple of rounds. I don't know. I'm just not that into it. I do know the Trickster is getting a new chapter, so I might try to get back into it for that. But the new Stranger Things chapter didn't really wow me that much. Wasn't really excited. I played a little bit more Genshin Impact, but again, it's gonna go in C tier. Nothing too crazy, nothing too special in my mind. I still want to give it a little bit more time to play, but it's nothing wowing me at the moment. Okay, so then these all have stories. So, we'll start with this one. So, a while ago, and people in my life are probably sick and tired of me talking about this because it happened a couple of years ago and then it recently just happened again in February, but I will get on and off obsessed with this dating simulator game called Sharkbait. If you couldn't guess from that title, you are dating anthropomorphic Sharks that have been turned into people. In the main storyline, there is a whale shark, a lemon shark, a tiger shark, and a great white shark you can date. This game can be found on an app called Dorian, and it is free to play. You can pay to get like special scenes and options to develop relationships more with other characters, but if you don't want to pay anything, it is free to play. I did put money into it though. Quite a bit of money. I don't want to talk about it. I am currently replaying this, and I'm having the best time in the world. So the reason I'm replaying this is because I chose to like romance the great white shark, and there is an option you can do to like romance all four. I'm not about that life. I'm a loyal bitch to my core. Every time I create a new Stardew Valley file, I date Sebastian, so like I'm loyal. I'm a one-man type of girl. So I romance the great white shark, but I looked at the end and I realized I got the good ending. I didn't get the legendary ending, so I have to replay to get the legendary ending. So I am kind of cheating because like at the end of each episode they'll tell you like how many hearts you could have gotten with each character and how many you did. And like if I don't get all of them with the great white shark, I go back and play and see where I messed up. This is obviously S tier. This is like the best thing ever made. Please go play Sharkbait. I highly recommend it. Please put all your money into Sharkbait like I have so I don't feel insane. And then again, February 27th, it was Pokemon Day, so I did play some Pokemon Omega Ruby. A tier. I think I'm gonna quit my fishing challenge because I'm just not having fun fishing anymore and I want to go for other things that aren't fish. I will eventually go back because I do want to get every single shiny you can get in this game, just not the fish right now. And then this was released on Pokemon Day. Pokemon Leaf Green. I got it on my Nintendo Switch too, but you can get it on the Switch 1, I believe. But I did start playing Pokemon Leaf Green because I'm a Bulbasaur girl. And S tier. I haven't even started the game yet. I've only like been to Professor Oak's lab because I'm soft resetting for a shiny Bulbasaur. But I will say I did download Fire Red, so if I do get bored soft resetting for the Bulbasaur, I will play through on Fire Red. Leaf Green's probably going to be my main one, but I do have Fire Red for all those backup stuff and if I want to play through the game multiple times. And last but not least, February 27th was also the release of Resident Evil 9 Requiem. This again is the 9th installment of the mainline Resident Evil series. This follows a girl named Grace Ashcroft whose mother was killed at a hotel, and Grace is sent in as an investigative journalist to investigate this hotel that her mother died in. Kind of crazy, but okay. And it is the return of the one, the only, Leon S. Kennedy. I will say I only got to play it on the 27th because after that I had to work every day except for today. I am going to play some today, but I only got like 2 hours in because I had other responsibilities and then I had work. But I am loving this game so far. It's kind of giving Resident Evil 4 energy if I'm being honest. Like there is this horror element. When you're playing as Grace, it's more horror focused and scary. And then when you're playing as Leon, it's more action focused. So you do get that good mix of both. I will say that when you start the game, they recommend that when you're playing as Grace to play in first person perspective, and when you're playing as Leon to play in third. I didn't do that shit. I am playing in third person in both perspectives because why would I switch back and forth and purposely give myself motion sickness? But Resident Evil 9 will be going in S tier as well. Again, I am loving that game. The reboots of the Resident Evil series, 7, 8, and now 9, are some of my favorite Resident Evil games. But yeah, that is all I have for today. Pretty banging month. Like, I had a lot of good things happening. Some duds down here, but overall, it's very top heavy this month. But I will let everyone go. I thank you for watching and stay this long. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Any recommendations you want to see me review or just even having a monthly wrap up. If you want me to do like a dedicated video to something that I had in this wrap up, I will absolutely do that. I do want to start doing gameplay videos. I need to get a capture card. I had one, but it broke, unfortunately. I need to get a new capture card that's a little bit better quality. I got a cheap one. I'll admit I got a cheap ass one. So that's probably why it broke. I have some reading vlogs I'm currently working on. I'm currently working on my yearly wrap-up favorites video. That will hopefully be out sometime this month or next month. I will see y'all next time. Bye.